They say that talking to yourself is a sign of insanity. But I think that's only if you answer back, right? Right. This is Talking to Myself, the art advice podcast where I use anecdotes from my own life to try to make myself a better artist, and hopefully a better person. While others might find this useful, mostly I'm just trying to avoid paying for therapy. In today's podcast, I thought we'd talk about fear. I've touched on this subject before in the podcast, but it's something that's come up recently that I thought I would share with everyone. And mostly as this relates to art, it'll be about sharing your art or being afraid to try something that you honestly don't know how to do. I have no idea. I'm one of those death positive people, which is kind of I don't know how new a philosophy it is, but it's not that old. And basically all that means is I don't think we should not talk about death and live in constant fear and be so scared of it that we don't want to think about it or talk about it ever. I think we should plan ahead. I mean, death is inevitable in most cases. Unless science and technology advances much, much further than it has already. We don't have enough time left to get to the point where death is not going to be a thing. So, I assume I'm going to die. And what that means is I need to come to terms with it and get it out of the way so the fear of that doesn't dominate my life. It doesn't keep me from making plans to allow for that. For instance, if I find myself wasting time, which I do a lot, I have to question, is this worth it? Knowing that I'm going to regret not having this time later. Sometimes it is worth it. Sometimes the thing I'm doing to waste time is just a way to unwind or relax or recharge my batteries, clear my mind. That's not technically a waste of time, even if it does involve YouTube. And also things like estate planning, making sure that my loved ones know what my wishes are in the case of death. Well, in the eventual definite case of death, the eventuality of death. Things like that. So I'm telling my family I don't want to be embalmed. I want to be buried in a natural setting as much as possible. I just want the lowest environmental footprint possible for my disposal. And I used to think that was cremation, but it turns out that that's actually a little more polluting than I thought it was. It uses a lot of energy, and I don't think it's worth it. If I'm going to decompose naturally anyway, it's fine. Don't embalm me. Put me in a shallow grave somewhere in a forest where I'll be protected from wildlife until I'm gone, and then let me feed some trees, That's all specific and not necessarily to the point. The point here is, if you have a fear of something, it's best to deal with it so that you don't have to dwell on it and have it like a weight around your neck. I've done some live streaming shows recently with other artists, something I've never really done before, and I've been scared to do. I've done it a couple of times with some friends, but they were already my personal friends before we did the streaming show, so it wasn't so bad. It was like hanging out with friends. These are with quote-unquote strangers I've never met before, so it felt a little weird. I'm not a very social person, but it was great. I'm glad I did it, and my fear of it now looks silly. But had I let myself dwell on that fear, I never would have done the shows, and I wouldn't have had the pleasant experience. And I gained from that experience. I feel like not only did I materially create a couple of little drawings that I liked, but the social experience made me feel better. The next time something like this comes up, I won't feel so bad about it. I'll be happy to, So if, for instance, you are worried about putting your art out there for critique, if you're worried about asking for help with something, because you feel like you'll be judged, or because you think someone's skill is so much better than yours that you'll be below their consideration as far as an artist goes, or if you're doubting your quality as an artist at all, like, am I even an artist? Am I producing at a level where I can be considered an artist by someone who I respect and consider an artist? You have to sort of overcome that fear, or you're never going to get any help, It's sort of like practice. If you don't bring yourself to do it and overcome the resistance to it, you're never going to pass that. You're just going to linger in that fear, and it's going to drag you down. So that's my advice for myself, future self. This is the part where I talk to myself literally. So I'm crazy, as everyone who listens to this knows. Hey, dummy, future dummy. hopefully less fearful dummy. If you're afraid to do something with your art because you feel like it's not good enough, or you're going to be judged by something, or just because you're scared of sharing it with people because maybe they make quote unquote capital A art, like things people would buy in art galleries, and you make cartoon ducks that are possessed or demon turtles, don't worry about that. It doesn't matter. You're asking for yourself. You're not asking for their approval. And if you are asking for their approval, you have to think to yourself, why? Did you make the art for them? Probably not, right? You make it for yourself, and then you're trying to get better at it so that you can better express the things you're trying to say yourself. That's what makes it personal. That's what makes it art. If you wanted someone else's opinion as to whether something was good and you were going to trust that opinion, you'd be working on a commercial project. And most of your art is not a commercial project, future self, unless things have changed and I'm talking to a different future self than I think I am, in which case, great. Bottom line, don't be afraid to put your stuff out there. Don't be afraid to ask for help, critique. Don't be afraid to critique others' work. You don't have to be harsh. You just share what you know. Tell them what you think, your opinion. They don't have to take your advice. They don't have to even listen to your advice. Doesn't matter. Just be open to sharing it. And that's my meandering comment to myself today. As always, thank you everybody for listening. I really appreciate you being here. Special thanks to my supporters on Patreon. You guys get to hear and see these a week earlier than everyone else, and you are the shiniest people I know. And I'll probably definitely be asking you for help critiquing stuff. Everybody have a great day. Take care of yourself. Do what you need to do to stay healthy and safe. And don't be afraid to share your work. Catch you next time.